You probably have a bottle of honey somewhere in your kitchen. Golden, sweet, natural, at least that's what the label tells you. But honey is one of the easiest premium foods to dilute with cheaper sweeteners. Corn syrup, cane sugar, rice syrup, other ingredients can imitate the sweetness and appearance of real honey. And US regulators have repeatedly flagged honey products from around the world over authenticity concerns. Today, we're counting down 10 of the worst honey products and brands to appear in FDA regulatory records, and what the laboratory tests actually found. This is Miles Halden Archives. Starting at number 10, a specialty truffle honey from Italy where premium packaging met a very different laboratory result. In the 10th place, a specialty truffle honey imported from Italy, produced by Società Agricola Artemide (SNC), was flagged by the FDA. Case files indicate this premium product appeared adulterated due to laboratory analysis showing high C4 plant sugars, which typically point to added corn or cane syrups. Because this finding applies only to specific shipments of this particular truffle honey, it does not mean every item from this producer is compromised. However, it raises a direct question for grocery shoppers. When consumers pay premium prices for specialty honey, how much of that price is really paying for honey? For this Italian import, the high-end packaging and luxury truffle branding encountered a stark regulatory reality, proving that even gourmet market selections can face serious authenticity concerns at the border. Number 9. Maalouf Industry and Trading's thistle honey from Lebanon brings the focus to specific floral claims. When a label boasts a rare, targeted nectar source like thistle, consumers expect a premium product. However, FDA regulatory records indicate this specific import appeared adulterated, with testing citing high C4 plant sugars. The presence of these undeclared sweeteners suggests the expensive thistle honey may have been stretched with cheap cane or corn syrups, meaning shoppers did not get the authentic floral profile they paid for. This regulatory flag applies only to the specific tested shipments of this thistle honey, rather than characterizing all Lebanese honey or the producer's entire inventory. Still, it shows how easily specialized botanical labels can mask ordinary industrial sugar. 8th place brings us to New Zealand with honey associated with Claridges Organic Limited. This case illustrates how premium, natural branding shapes consumer perception and retail habits. When words like organic and natural adorn elegant glass packaging, buyers assume a high level of purity and regulatory assurance without questioning the source. Yet, historical FDA records for this specific import group identified concerns regarding C4 plant sugars, suggesting the potential presence of undeclared cane or corn sweeteners. While these administrative flags are limited strictly to the tested shipments and do not indict the brand's entire modern catalog, they deliver an essential lesson for grocery shoppers. Premium aesthetic claims are never a substitute for empirical chemical verification. A label can tell you a story. A laboratory tells you what is actually inside. Number 7 on our list brings us to Spain, focusing on acacia honey associated with Apicola, Cuartero, Navarro. Acacia honey is highly prized by consumers for its pale, translucent color and exceptionally mild, sweet flavor. These highly specific physical characteristics allow the product to command premium pricing on store shelves. However, this premium value also creates a strong economic incentive for suppliers to stretch the genuine harvest with cheaper industrial substitutes. Case files state that FDA records listed this Spanish import for apparent adulteration linked to C4 sugar testing, though the underlying historical records require further verification. This case delivers an essential lesson for grocery shoppers. Sensory properties are highly deceptive. Pale color and delicate flavor alone cannot verify botanical origin or chemical purity. While these administrative flags apply only to the specific tested shipments rather than the producer's entire output, they show how easily elite floral claims can mask ordinary added sugars. Number 6 on our list, honey associated with Hamil al-Musk in Saudi Arabia, marks a shift in regulatory action. Unlike previous cases focused on individual shipment failures, this This brand was connected to FDA Import Alert 9947, which targets human food products appearing to be adulterated for economic gain. Historical records cite issues with C4 sugar levels, indicating that cheaper cane or corn syrups may have been substituted for real honey. Being placed on an import alert means the FDA has authorized the automatic detention of shipments before they arrive at the border. This broader administrative action raises the stakes, moving the concern from a single retail package to an entire product category. Keep in mind, this is a protective regulatory hold, not a criminal conviction. It does not prove that every product currently sold by the company contains added sweeteners, but it forces the importer to provide clean laboratory tests before any shipments can reach American grocery shelves. Number 5, honey associated with Phong Company Limited in Vietnam highlights how easily supply chains obscure food traceability. According to case descriptions, FDA records listed this honey for apparent adulteration involving elevated C4 plant sugars, pending verification of the exact shipment files. This case illustrates the winding path a single batch takes from hive to home. Honey is often collected in one region, processed in another, sold through brokers, shipped across oceans in industrial drums, and finally bottled under a completely different retail label. These multiple handoffs create a highly complex chain, making it incredibly difficult to connect the final bottle on a grocery shelf with the original source or the specific batch tested at the border. While this administrative flag reflects a serious product authenticity concern, a broken paper trail does not automatically prove intentional wrongdoing by every participant in the supply chain. Number 4 on our list is honey associated with Tang import and export trading in Vietnam. In this case, FDA regulatory records cited C4 sugar levels for the specified honey shipments, exposing the constant challenge of maintaining batch purity across vast global distribution networks. Because this entry involves an international trade entity, it sharpens a clear distinction for consumers: the precise relationship between the physical cargo container, the bulk shipment, and the final retail label. This enforcement action targets only the specific products, producers, or shipments identified by the agency, and must not be used to generalize about Vietnamese honey as a whole. Excellent, authentic honey is produced throughout the region by many dedicated beekeepers. For grocery shoppers, this case reinforces a basic principle of food safety. The true problem is not the country where the honey originates, but whether what is inside the container matches what is printed on the label. In the third place, Empacadora de Miel GDL's Natural Honeybee with honeycomb from Mexico shows how visual presentation shapes consumer trust. This retail bottle uses some of the most persuasive sensory cues available, displaying a physical piece of honeycomb suspended inside the golden liquid. But historical FDA case descriptions indicated that tested shipments of this specific product appeared adulterated, citing high C4 sugar levels. While a thick consistency, warm amber color, and traditional imagery suggest natural purity, these physical characteristics cannot verify chemical composition. You can put honeycomb in the bottle, you can put bees on the label, neither proves what the liquid actually contains. This administrative finding applies strictly to the tested shipments of this designated product, rather than serving as a blanket judgment against the Mexican producer's entire inventory. For US grocery shoppers, it serves as a reminder that the most authentic looking bottle on the shelf requires the same analytical scrutiny as any other. The presence of physical honeycomb might make a product persuasive at retail, but visual appeal is entirely separate from chemical authenticity. Ultimately, genuine verification is determined through laboratory testing, not by rustic aesthetic design. In second place, Aygee multi-flower honey, associated with Magmegva Bukakan and Cuartero in Armenia, represents a major escalation in regulatory language. For this entry, the documented concerns exceed a typical compositional warning, introducing serious questions about product authenticity. According to historical case files, the FDA flagged the product because another substance appeared to have been substituted wholly or partly for the honey. While the term multi-flower implies a rich natural blend of wild floral nectars, the actual shipment records suggested a different reality, showing that floral descriptors alone cannot establish purity. The current public import alert page does not display this specific brand entry, making the original customs records necessary for complete verification. This administrative action is a historic regulatory record. It is not a criminal conviction, so these findings should not be applied to all current Aygee products on store shelves today. For grocery shoppers, this reveals how commercial flower names can mask basic sugar substitutes. When a bottle lacks its natural honey components, the premium label loses all value, proving why independent analytical verification at the border is the final line of defense for the consumer. And finally, in first place, honey associated with Navarro's company in Mexico represents the most critical regulatory finding in this investigation. In this case, an FDA record described a laboratory result where honey protein isolate was not detected in the tested product. While other entries on this list involved indicators of added C4 plant sugars like corn or cane syrup, this finding points to a far more fundamental issue. According to the regulatory documents, the FDA interpreted the missing protein signal as an indicator of very little or potentially no natural honey at all inside the tested shipment. Honey naturally contains pollen-derived proteins, and their complete absence suggests a product that may be entirely synthetic sugar syrup. This historical finding applies strictly to the specific tested shipments and does not prove criminal wrongdoing, nor should it be generalized to every product associated with Navarro's company today. Still, it shows the limits of simple visual inspection. The most convincing food fraud looks, pours, and tastes exactly like the genuine article. While home tricks like the water or flame test fail to reliably expose these advanced counterfeits, the scientific records remain clear. Across these 10 cases, a clear truth emerges. The most effective food fraud can look completely ordinary, but every empire leaves a paper trail. Check the honey in your kitchen, comment with its brand and stated origin, and subscribe to Miles Halden Archives for more investigations.